A very good morning to all our viewers. I'm Shivani Srivastav, Relationships Manager at Global Education and Training Institute. I welcome you all this morning for this live session with Ms. Shalini Mehra, who is the principal of Woodward Public School. She has been an excellent leader who has worked for the upliftment of the rural children. She has worked for around 10 years as a teacher and for 15 years as a principal. She believes in compassion and hard work. I welcome you, ma'am, to our platform this
Thank you
morning.
so much,
And,
Shivani.
and today, ma'am will be speaking on parental responsibilities during the times of pandemic. So over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Shivani. I'm so glad to be a part of Global Education Training Institute. And I'd like to thank Ma'am Sunita Gandhi for this kind of an opportunity which she's giving to rural principals and to bring our point of view further. The pandemic has been very stressful for most of us. I think for parents who work from home, from students who've been home for so long, and how students long to go to school. For them, I think this is once in a lifetime opportunity where they've been at home and they've learned quite a bit. Though they've missed school, they've missed social interaction, and parents have been very stressed. So especially for their academic benefit, they've been very stressed. They've been stressed how to handle them because children cannot handle their own feelings at this moment because they're so anxious, they're stressed, they haven't been out, no social interaction, and it's led to a lot of anxiety for parents as well as for students. But I think this is an excellent time for parents to bond with their children. Parents have always longed to have their children more often with them. They want to hug them. Physical contact is such an important part of growing up for the child and for the parent to feel, their child growing up. And this, I'm sure, has given a lot of parents this opportunity to be with their child all the time. I think the parents' first responsibility at this time is to make them feel very loved, safe. In spite of teaching, healthy habits, they should be hugging them more often, praising them, acknowledging their talents. They should be teaching them new skills, hobbies, online courses. I think the list is endless what parents can do with their children. And parents, of course, are the first teachers, and children behave just the way parents behave. Ultimately, it's the parents who end up shaping their child. So during the pandemic, they've got this responsibility, and this responsibility has increased many folds. They have to deal with their social, emotional needs along with the academic needs. Firstly, I think the parents should be very calm. They should deal with the anxiety. They should let them interact with the friends online, but that interaction should be, sticking to a routine. They cannot keep interacting with their friends all the time or just call up whenever they feel like. I think they should stick to their online, routine for classes, give them a little break, let them interact online with their friends so that they don't miss their friends, their study time, their social interaction, all should be fixed and monitored. They should all be supported in all circumstances at this time because they can feel very frustrated sitting in front of their screens all the time. Because earlier on, parents were always checking their children for the screen time that they had. And today, we have to literally encourage them to have more screen time. So parents have to, monitor their screen time. They have to let them interact with other friends. Social interaction can also be with the family because they are missing their friends. They should have family bonding. Our extended families should be called over. They should, take care of the elderly. The children should be made to take care of the elderly, like the grandparents, so that the grandparents feel loved, the children feel loved, and parents don't feel so stressed. It's both ways. It's parents, grandparents missing their children. It's the children who miss their grandparents. So this is a perfect time for grandparents and children bonding, and parents should encourage this. Secondly, I think household chores should be made to do by the children. The children should be made to do simple tasks at home, and this would teach them life skills. Number one, doing anything at home is, of course, a life skill. Number two, It would also make them feel very wanted and have collaborative and teamwork. They'll learn collaboration and teamwork if they work at home with their parents, with their siblings, with their grandparents. So, collaboration, teamwork, life skills, these are all things that can be taught at home by letting them do a little accounts at home, the housekeeping, or letting them, share any kind of household chores. Then if the child is too stressed, we should just let them play with their pets, which is also a great stress buster. We can have more pets at this time. Children have always wanted pets, and parents have always given them the excuse that you don't have time. How will you take care of the pets? Pets need a lot of care. But this is an ideal time for the children to have pets. So children can, have pets. They can pet them. That will be a stress buster for the children. As for the parents, it'll also take away their frustration of having, their children do nothing. They'll learn a lot of things, how to care for people or animals. So there's going to be a lot of learning by just having a pet at home at this time. Then parents should also be very conscious of not showing their own stress and anxiety. You know, Parents are stressed, they are very anxious about the academic performance of the child. But I think, if academics is taking a background at this time, it can be compensated by making them learn other life skills, which I just said, like household duties can be taught to the children. They can be taught to take care of grandparents, of pets. So, academic backbench can be taken and other things can be taught. Then we can teach them collaborative learning and teamwork by, encouraging them to work together. Like all the siblings can get together and do a project work together, or they can improve their communication skills. They can have certain games like Scrabble, which would increase their vocabulary. They could have, dumb charades where their acting skills would be improved. Confidence level can be really, improved at this time when parents are always with their children, praising them on their little acts of kindness or any household chore they do. So their confidence level can be boosted, which children at times, really lack because the parents don't have time to watch them or, praise them. And now that the parents are home and children are home, parents can keep praising them for little acts that they do, and their confidence level can be boosted. They can also join hobby classes. I'm sure all children have lots of interests, and those interests have been given a backbench because students are always made to do, go to school. They waste a lot of time traveling back. So a lot of time is taken away from their routine in traveling for hobby courses. Now they can do hobby courses online, so they can learn through online courses, documentaries, Google searches, YouTube channels. One can learn a new language. They can learn any art form. They can have their own YouTube channels, in fact. So that would make them very confident broadcasters. And children can really develop their skill and talents more than academics at this time. Their family bonding can be increased. We can have family videos. We can have family trees. Children can be made to do a lot of art, craft, gardening. We have been so environmentally conscious today, so we can make them do little gardening in pots if they don't have a garden. They can do so much at this time because they've saved a lot of traveling time, basically, because they have, classes online. They manage to do it, and then they are free the whole day. So the time which they have saved in traveling can be used in learning newer skill sets. And with changing education system, all children need to have new skill sets. And this COVID has brought many changes in our society. And education, especially, has experienced a lot of change today. There's a lot of change in the perspective of teaching and learning. Our education system is pretty outdated, and it's high time that we brought some change. And today, when we have been given this time to change the education system, the children can actually study online. They don't need to now if parents want to go back to school, they can continue with home learning after this. So basically, parents have always felt about the system, which is very anarchic and obsolete, and they don't need to have such degrees. Today, parents have got this kind of a time where they can experiment with home learning, with students just pursuing courses of their own choice. They can save time and money. But in these circumstances, where parents then choose to have this kind of learning at home and not sending students to school after the pandemic, they will have to act like social connect for the children. They will have to teach them social, emotional, and basically parents will have to do much more in case after pandemic, or if the pandemic continues for more time, they will have to teach them so much more. Besides this, the children who have been really running after rote learning in school. Now is the time where parents, if they don't want the child to do rote learning, they can make them have experiences, so they can have experiential learning at this time. Parents can give them small experiences of things, make them do project work, because they have more time, the children have more time on hand, so they can have experiential learning. They can have a hybrid system of teaching. Even after school reopens, the parents can opt for hybrid system of learning, whereby they continue certain online classes and certain offline classes, and they can then do whatever they want after that. With the online mode, parents will now have to teach them emotional, social skills. But with real time teaching, schools too would have to emphasize on newer skill sets now. Students can now study online and discuss and analyze various aspects of given topics in school. So if we go back to school when the school opens, now schools would shift more to hybrid learning and hybrid teaching, in which the student reads himself, studies himself, and they just analyze when they go to school. So topics can be taught online, they can read themselves, and then when they go, they can have a discussion, they can have analysis of the same topic. So critical thinking, analytical skills, what our schools have been missing out on, can now be compensated like this by hybrid learning. So pandemic has actually shown the schools a new way of teaching. They can teach online, or they can give them recorded teaching lessons, and the students can then go to school and analyze and have a critical debate on those issues. But parents' now role would also be to monitor them, to see that they don't get diverted and distracted. Because in this kind of studying, where so many online, a lot of students get diverted. They get distracted by new methods of studying. So parents' role also would be to be motivators at this time. They have to guide them. They have to see that they don't get distracted in these times. Am I visible?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm on an online talk. Please cut it. Hello, am I visible now? Hello,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please
Shivani
continue.
ma'am, can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Please continue.
So basically, parents have to now be motivators more than really anything else. They have to see that the children don't get diverted, distracted. They give their children experiential learning. So creative thinking, collaborative working, emotional intelligence, proactive thinking, innovation, all that has to be done by parents today. Creative thinking, as in they can read themselves, parents can question them, discuss with them, They can, collaborate together, the parents and the children, and read a certain topic, which would give them a better insight into topics. Parents can, fill in the gap. The children have had, certain learning disabilities, or if any child has had a learning gap, that can be filled in this time, because this is a very precious time where children and parents both are at home, and that learning gap can be filled in. There is a lot of other things that the parents can do. They can empathize with their children, which they can be home with them for a longer time. Anything that the children have, any problems that children have faced, parents can relook at their parental strategies, solve their problems. They can give them creative ideas. The parents will have to now start thinking of, different strategies to bring up their children, because they already have a lot of information online. And once they've had this online teaching methodology, they really don't want anybody to give them information anymore. They're not, now information seekers. They know that they can seek information online. What they're really seeking is a nice discussion, a nice analysis, critical thinking, which parents can really help them to do. Teachers, parents, we educators, we today will be facilitators for them after this. We won't be teachers anymore. They will learn themselves. We will just question them. We'll ask them to learn newer skill sets, newer ideas. We will make them, nurture analytical skills. We will try to find out uniqueness in every child after this. I don't think we will be asking them to rote learn things. So parents would be seeking for uniqueness in their children. They'll be encouraging to have, new skill sets, because this pandemic has made parents realize that everything is there online. They've been just running after degrees and making their children learn by heart, which hasn't really helped children in the long run. It hasn't helped, the careers of our people. Only very unique personalities have done well. And now, after this pandemic, the parents will also try to take out the uniqueness of their child. They will try to, rethink their educational strategies. Not just educators, parents also would be rethinking on their educational strategies. Probably most of the parents, would follow hybrid system of teaching, or maybe they don't even send them back to school. Maybe they do start having home tutoring and home education. So I think parental role in pandemic has been from emotional to, intellectual, to stimulators, to motivators, to innovators. I think whatever her parents have missed out on, bringing up their children and have self because they've not had enough time, I think they've been given this golden opportunity to work on all of that. And we as parents can just, we've been given this one whole year to work on our children. For whatever dreams we had, we can work on that. We can be very proactive now. We can, have new skill sets develop for ourselves and for our children. And from the primary stage now, parents will start doing and re-looking at their parenting strategies. They will think of creative ideas to now bring up children. And this pandemic has really taught parents that, the education system which we were followed has been disrupted. And now we also need to be the change bearers, not just the educationists, but as parents, we need to be the change bearers. Shivani, do you think this kind of thing parents would agree with?
Uh, Definitely, ma'am.
Definitely, ma'am.
Parents should,
Parents
you know,
should,
take care of their
take care of their
children in a,
children in a
broader way now.
broader
I have a question here that about the working parents.
parents.
Um,
Um,
they are
they
working,
are
they also
working,
don't
they
get
also
time.
don't get time.
So how can they
Ma'am,
manage
working
their
parents have
time
been
and how
working
can they
from
take
home. So at least the physical proximity has been there. And, they can always take short breaks and listen to their children. So at least the physical proximity has helped. If not really, they're not free the whole day, but physically they've been very close to their children in this time of pandemic. And that has really given them time to re-look into the strategies of, their child upbringing, and they have actually help the children being at home with them.
Right, and there is
Right.
one
And
more
there
very
is one
critical
more very
issue
critical
where
issue
we talk
where
about
we talk about
depression, right?
depression, right?
Um,
Um,
Students are getting
Students
into
are getting
depression
into
maybe because
depression
they are at
maybe
home
because they are at
for a long
home.
time.
I think this depression issue can be solved by students being given time to interact with their friends online. They can have house party, they can have WhatsApp chat groups, or but parents should monitor that socializing time. They cannot keep socializing with their peer groups all the time. They should have a time given by parents where they can chat up with their friends. They can interact with or make video calls, group video calls. All this should be encouraged, and parents should be
Right, so basically there should be a balance.
with their friends.
Right,
Right.
thank you. We have
Thank you.
a
We
comment for
have a
you.
comment for you.
Miss Firdaus says,
Firdaus says,
beautiful
beautiful
for hybrid
for
learning. You talked about hybrid. Yes, sorry, there was some technical issues. You talked about hybrid learning, for which Miss Firdaus says that it was really beautiful.
about hybrid learning. Was it was really
Yes, ma'am. So I think there should be hybrid learning thereafter, because these kind of schools that we've been having till now, and the kind of teaching learning methodology that we've been using, we'll have to relook into it. This has been going on for some time. Our new education policy has been trying to relook into these things, and this pandemic has only increased the pace of the change that we require in our education system today.
Right, thank you so
right.
much, ma'am.
Thank you so much,
This
ma'am.
was really
This was
wonderful
really
having
wonderful
you here
having you
and
here
listening to
and
how the
listening to
parents can
how
take
the parents can take
the
the
responsibility
responsibility.
during the
Thank
difficult
you so much,
times.
Rani ma'am. It was a pleasure being
With
with you.
this,
Thank you,
we
ma'am.
thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
so
in,
much for
ma'am.
joining
And
in,
with
ma'am.
this, we
And with
come
this,
to
we
an end to this
come to an
session.
end to this
We'll be meeting
session.
again soon
We'll be
with
meeting again
another
soon
session.
with another
Until
session.
then, thank you
Until
and
then,
goodbye.
thank you and goodbye.
Thank you, ma'am.